Oh, there you go. Look at that.
So, to answer your question, in my point of view, the difference today is that we have infrastructure that wasn't available a couple of years ago. In Daniel's example of Helium, Helium raised $500 million from VCs and another $500 million from retail. They picked at 1 million gateways. And at that time, they were building their own layer one. So this is a good example of how much was missing and how much Helium had to build. Later on, Helium migrated to Solana. So a new DePIN project today will probably start with Solana. So there's, at the same time, storage providers. Filecoin was launched a similar time with Helium as well. And it took them quite a few years to become very easily accessible as an infrastructure for other projects to build on top. So today, a new DePIN project will find a lot of substrate to build. A couple of years ago, it was really difficult. So I think the idea of combining Web 2, Web 3 with token incentives is really strong. It's kind of obvious to the people who understand it, but it's super hard. It's like at least 3 companies, because you have the hardware aspect, you have the consumer, usually you have an enterprise side, and you have the crypto. But this will hopefully progress faster than what it did before.
Can I make a quick question here to the audience? Who here has deployed a DePIN project at home?
There you go.
Anyone is thinking about that in the near future?
What would be?
What would you start with?
Yeah.
Like DCharge is one of my friend's company, so I'll buy his first.
It's a great one. It's a great one to start with.
Nice.
And maybe I like your ideas, but like, and maybe buy an energy unit in Bangalore. So,
There you go.
I think this would be a nice time to talk about machine economy, because now we're seeing that machines are transacting, they're securing, they're also earning all autonomously. Where does DePIN play a role in that autonomy that we're giving to machines? And where do you think the entire machine economy is going to stand in a couple of years from now?
I can take it.
Go for it.
Well, I mean, DePIN, essentially, you have to have infrastructure for these machines to run, right? That's as simple as it gets, right? If you don't have the infrastructure for these machines to operate, how are they going to operate autonomously? So DePIN is the necessary network you need, the necessary bloodline, lifeline, if you will, for the machine economy to exist on top of. It needs DePIN to function. I can pass it to anyone here.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said is correct, and also we don't want to rely on just one company owning the whole infrastructure that those machines are going to be running, because there are different companies. They're going to be building different cars, washing machines, whatever kind of device you have at home, and all those devices need some sort of a trusted way to do that doesn't rely on just one big companies. Because you see how many, for example, Google, how many projects have they already killed? Right? So imagine if you build a product that relies on some sort of transaction gateway that's built by Google, and then they just start to cancel. So we need to build in a resilient way, also in a way that can be transported all over the world, right? Doesn't require necessarily one company or one government. Of course, we need to work with governments to allow the laws and everything, but it needs to be something that can transact freely, like you can send stable coins to anyone in the world with Solana right now.
I think the use case has been discussed for many years, but it wasn't until now that there was a real need for it. I think the acceleration of AI and the creation of AI agents seems to be the biggest driver today. And it was only a couple of months ago when we saw the first big VCs trying to fund AI agents to play and speculate on crypto rails. And it's only recently that companies like Coinbase released the X402 protocol, which allows agents to pay autonomously. Recently, Cloudflare announced that they're going to support that. We will probably see a couple of competitors. So we are in this phase that the protocols are still being developed to enable this machine economy that you're talking about. So I think until today, it was a romantic vision, and now we're seeing it happening.
For sure. And I'd also, while we talk about use cases, of course, we've spoken about use cases for almost half a decade, but what is one use case that you guys see for DePIN that is actually going to work out and go mainstream in the next 5 years? Take wild guesses or place your bets.
I think the need for passive income or having an access to passive income would be one of the use cases that can lead to a mainstream adoption to the DePIN space. But that can happen when we make DePIN very simple. And a user, let's say, for example, if he wants to earn like $10 per month can mean nothing to us, but for someone in a third world country, let's say in India or in Africa, that can pay their whole month's electricity bill. So to achieve that, we have to make it very simple, and the entry barrier has to be very simple for a Web 2 person to enter into this space. And that's what we are trying to do with Hivello. We have an application that can run on Windows, Linux, Mac OS. One-click download. You just can sign up with Google account. You don't need to do connect. You don't need to connect multiple wallets. We have different DePINs integrated. So our AI takes care of all of that, which DePINs can run best on your system, and you just start earning passive DePIN income. That's it. It's that simple. And I think we have to make we need to make entries barrier as simple as possible, like I said, and also not differentiate between a Web 2 and a Web 3 user. Yeah. That's my unpopular opinion. Anyway.
Well, also, when you say like DePIN, I'm mostly thinking about like security, privacy. Okay, sorry guys, I'm not really a loudspeaker. What kind of benefit can this bring to technology in general and to people like in their daily life? And in our case, we're trying mostly to show and to promote, let's say, what we're doing in a way that's more Web 2 friendly, let's say, and is not that much like in the crypto way. So just a normal person can use our services in a way that is better for them and easy, but in the same time they might not be even that much crypto native. So this is what DePIN, in my opinion, does. And yeah, especially in terms of data and how you distribute data and how we communicate data with whoever and so on. So this is more, this is more on our side.
Otherwise I can say something. As you're asking, like for machine economy, machine-to-machine transaction, I think it's something that relying on blockchain is very interesting. I think we're using a lot of idle resources and automation for those things, right? And the blockchain is the gateway that everything's going to transact, not just payments, but I think payments is a very important thing. Like you have the Robo.ai car, it has the VIN number, which is the ID number, then everything's tied to that car. The car is, walking around, you have the tolls automatically connected to the person's wallet, or the car wallet actually, because the car can also generate revenue, and then at some point maybe that person can use the revenue generated by sharing the battery power, for example, connected to Arkreen network, and then everything's going to be automated. The resources are going to be, the idle resources are going to be better distributed, and so in a way that we're going to not having to maybe work as much to make money, because the things that you're doing automatically without thinking are already generating some sort of like resource or revenue. Then can also, for example, you travel, you park your car for a month, the battery is helping the grid with energy, thanks to Arkreen network, and then that's going to generate some revenue for that car VIN, and then use that amount of money generated to pay for tolls when you're traveling. So in these things, like in my dreams and hopes, it's going to be autonomous. You don't need to actually think about these things because are automatically going to be generated this way.
Makes sense. You want to add this?
Oh.
Yes, perfect. Yes, I guess for us, one of the more interesting use cases on the Web 2 side where we're seeing demand is actually scraping. So the reason this is done is quite useful when it's done through Acurast is because we actually use residential IPs or mobile IPs for this part. In general, you cannot do scraping from a server as you will get blocked. So this distributed nature of Acurast really helps out. And what really separates us from, say, traditional proxy providers is on Acurast, you're also able to access the IP the IP address, and then at the same time, you're able to execute the compute to actually do the scraping on the same device. I think that's one of the use cases that will continue to grow, especially as machine learning models will need to more and more data, especially multimodal data, so like videos and images.
Yeah. So going back to your question, I think the opportunity for DePIN is to fix inefficiencies of governments when it comes to infrastructure. Like large infrastructure projects require huge amounts of capital and usually labor as well. And governments are popular for not making an efficient use of that. And some countries obviously are better than others, but there's like a lot that people expect from governments that they don't deliver. And this is where we have an opportunity as a community, but also enterprises that are not as greedy as what we've seen so far. Enterprises that have a decentralized element, that they have a community, they're more fair, more transparent, they have a chance to fix some of the problems that no one else was able to fix before.
Absolutely, that makes sense. And you already spoke about a few bottlenecks that we have towards mass adoption at the moment. And I think we can start from there and talk a little bit more about the bottlenecks that we're facing sector-wide. They can be regulatory, hardware access, infrastructure. I think we'll start with you.
So what's the question? Like, how do
What
you...
are some of the roadblocks that we have towards mass adoption for the DePIN sector at large? I'm sure there are many.
Yeah, I mean, the cliche here is user experience for crypto in general. But this is changing rapidly lately. So I think there's a lot of roadblocks, like legislation, like you said. It's also changing, like a lot of countries that were anti-crypto are changing now. US recently made a big pivot. I don't know what's the biggest roadblock, to be honest.
So I'd reframe the question to say that if you had to magically take away one roadblock, what would that be?
I think you're asking the wrong person. So so DePIN projects are very different from meme coins, and so meme coins have a purpose. They have an educational value, but they also come with a lot of risk. And they have skewed the market, the industry, the crypto market, towards directions that are not beneficial for DePIN projects. So we just had this discussion with Daniel in another panel yesterday. I think some of the metrics that are used in the crypto industry do not apply in DePIN. For example, followers on your Twitter. It doesn't mean anything. Because it doesn't mean anything because it's robots. And even if it's humans, I mean, it doesn't cost anything to press a button. So it's like attention. But DePIN projects require a community that is willing to put some effort. So DePIN projects will always have smaller numbers of followers and smaller numbers of community, but their impact is dramatically larger. And the industry hasn't adopted to this. So if you try to list a DePIN token into an exchange, the exchange will review and filter you based on the traditional criteria of meme tokens.
Yeah, I would say if I had to remove one roadblock, it would probably be the general lack of understanding of this industry. Because right now you have DePIN is kind of like the ugly stepchild, right? Like The Web3 community doesn't care about us. Like they're all hyped up on trading and meme coins, just like Manos mentioned. But then the Web2 community, the general mass population, associates us with the Web3 community. So we're stuck in this bucket where like we have a kind of a PR nightmare, if you will, because as soon as you mention a crypto token, they think, oh, scam, meme coin, yada yada yada. And then when you talk to the Web3 guys, they say, oh, that's boring. I don't care. I want, my next 1000x. Like, I don't necessarily want to build out infrastructure for you. And so I think I would want to fix that kind of barrier where the general population begins to understand the new economy being built and they start latching on and associating crypto with DePIN, not necessarily DePIN with crypto, right? Like we want to have DePIN be its own thing that utilizes crypto, but it isn't necessarily in the crypto industry per se.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the DePINs should have a small percentage of their project focused on Web3. It's how you bootstrap the networks, how you start everything, but it shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be actually building real businesses that have revenue come from outside of crypto into the project through like buy and burn mechanism. That's not the topic. But I think what you guys said it makes a lot of sense and is exactly what I think as well. Thinking of DePIN as shared economy 2.0, the new Airbnb, the new Uber, it's easier for people to understand than talking about crypto. You don't even need to talk about crypto. Sometimes even some projects trying to do the payouts and you can automatically convert to stables could be a solution, right?
Yeah, okay. I agree with you guys, really. I mean, in my opinion, if you would like to explain to someone that is from Web2 what exactly DePIN do, it doesn't matter the service, you just need to not mention first 10-15 minutes anything about crypto, Web3 or whatsoever, and you just need to push on the value that it can bring to the person or to the company, and actually to explain in a good way why, for example, a solution is cheaper, why it's more secure, or whatsoever, depends on the benefit, the potential benefit that can bring it comparing to a Web2 one. So yeah, I would like also somehow to raise this difference between like, I mean, we're in the middle. We are one leg is in the Web2 and the other one is Web3, and we receive the negatives sometimes from both. So I would like to turn it, I mean, to change it and to be actually the opposite, to be a connection, to be a bridge between Web2 and Web3, and to not focus too much on the hype and on the meme coins or whatsoever, but to focus on the service and why it exists and why it's better.
Oh, yeah, he wants to add something, Hivello.
Thank you. One thing that I would remove, I don't know about that because I think my friends have already answered it perfectly. I would say, I would make it very quick, and I would say one thing I can add would be I would have thousands of ambassadors representing DePINs in every country, starting from third world countries. I think it would be much easier, and if a local person can, pitch DePIN or their project or passive income to their community, it seems very less like a scam and very like they can trust that person. So I would rather have that, and I totally agree that in DePIN communities are very important, and how you shape them and how you narrate your community is also very important.
For sure, I do agree, but you mentioned that, you rightly mentioned that communities are important, and it does sound like a great idea to have ambassadors across countries who can propagate the idea of something that's secure, verifiable. But then I think the keywords here for me would be secure, verifiable. When we talk about DePIN, the DePIN sector, there's a lot of data that's being accessed, right? So how are you guys at your respective firms trying to keep data secure, personal data? How are you guys working around verifiability, security, which of course has been a big issue with the Web3 space at large, which is why you guys rightly mentioned we have been often called a scam or not taken seriously enough by Web2 media or enterprises.
So in WeatherXM, we solve this with transparency. We produce a lot of open source, and we make our data openly available immediately as they are produced.
Yep.
So if you go to our website, you see real-time data coming from all the stations, but at the same time, we archive the data on Filecoin.
Yeah.
We have created the hardware. we are the manufacturer of the hardware because we had to add some cryptographic proofs on the hardware itself. And so we make these proofs available throughout our chain of transfer of data. So anyone can confirm that the stations indeed exist, they are placed at these exact locations, and the way that we calculate our data, the way that we prove that our forecasts are superior than third-party forecasts is made available for anyone to confirm. We're also acting as a prediction, as a resolver weather oracle for prediction markets, which is a very tricky area. Being an oracle on chain has always been, a huge direction that technology was trying to evolve. We all know Chainlink, they have invented a lot of technology, and when we came across the same problem, we simplified the problem with the transparency that I said. So we have a very simple oracle technology, which is just we update a smart contract with the results that we get from an open source software that is running on open data.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we don't have our own DePIN for this, but I think the education is something that's going to be very important, right? Because it's really hard to get new people into Web3 because a lot of people are afraid, or they see it as a massive complexity. They don't know all the terms or terminologies. As us on DePIN Hub, that's something that we try to teach people. We have a podcast, we have academy, we talk to a lot of people. We try to be like the ambassadors of this space, and we believe that DePIN narrative is the one that's going to onboard a lot of new people into Web3 because it can be simpler. I see a lot of DePIN projects that are doing a very good way to try to not. The first thing you see is a seed phrase, right? Like, for example, Helium had a pretty big issue that they spent zero effort on educating people when they decided to move from their own layer 1 to Solana. And people had no idea what these 12 words were, and then they just started writing them every website they see to try to fix their device, and people are getting hacked left and right. So I think if you want to get more and more people into Web3, we need to simplify, and we need to educate, and it's to be the same thing like people think about things as a password or like, it needs to be drilled inside of people's homes, because otherwise we won't never be mass adoption on Web3 because of that.
Yeah, I guess I'll add just briefly. I would say that the way I relate to people, if they have like a data or maybe a privacy issue, like maybe they're like, oh, what happens to my data? I usually just tell them, hey, your data's being stolen already, dude. Like you have a smartphone, right? Like Google, Apple, they're all listening already. So I say, why not just make a little bit of money on that, right? That's pretty much as simple as way I could relay it. It's just that your phone itself too has a lot of different things about it that can help generate revenue for you in a variety of ways. Like you have Acurast here. That's just one use case right there. I use things like Silencio, 375 AI. There's just so many apps on my phone. My phone's actually heating up right now because there are all these apps running. So that's the first thing that's like the main thing I relate to people when they ask or bring those issues up. But go for it.
Yeah, on us, for Acurast.
No, it's okay.
Okay, for Acurast, this has been incorporated into the network. So actually, all the phones that are onboarded have a trusted execution environment. So firstly, that helps with the numbers. So the phones, that 130,000 phones over that we have on the network is an actual real figure, and we cannot fake these numbers themselves. Additionally, all the compute that goes through the platform is completely confidential due to these trusted execution environments. And this is somewhere where, especially when it comes to running inference, if you don't want to know what you've actually asked the model, this is ideal. So it's perfect for confidential AI or anything that has to do with sensitive data.
Makes sense. I actually have a question for WeatherXM. You guys have community-powered stations, which are, of course, a model for DePIN at the edge. What's your biggest learning that you've had till now, maintaining data reliability and incentivizing users across physical networks?
Interesting question. So, there is a saying in the startup world that you have to identify who's your customer, where's your market, and depending on some kind of strategy, and usually strategy contains the countries that you want to enter, and you have to become a little bit familiar with the culture there, and because otherwise, all the startups that they want to dominate the world, it's going to be very difficult. if you don't understand your customer. And the same thing applies for a DePIN project to understand your supply, your community. And every community in every country is quite different. And to give a fun example, when we launched the project like a couple of years ago, it was really important for us to have as good of a station deployment as possible. So you cannot put this at your window and expect to help anyone, because the data are going to be really bad, and we try to penalize you. We don't give you rewards for that. We try to detect this and stop the rewards. So we had to explain basically to our community that they need to do a good job. Now, in Greek culture, if you ask a Greek person to, let's say, for example, deploy this station at 2 meters high, they will say, yeah, okay, 2 meters, I'll put it at 1. Because they don't take instructions exact. So for us, it was obvious that the first version of our documentation, the first version of our instructions should have this mentality in mind. So we asked for 4 meters, exactly. We asked for 4 meters, assuming that most people will not put it really at 4. They will probably go at 2, so ask for 4 and get 2. And when people started deploying stations all around the world, they were sending us photos. And we very soon realized that all the network in Germany was built at 4 meters, exactly. So, these are things that a startup has to take into account, for sure.
That sure is interesting. Tells you a lot about communities and culture. I do have a question from you, Melania. And it's, of course, I have to say that it's really exciting to see another woman on the panel. There is hardly any representation at crypto events, so it's always exciting to see women at these events.
Thank you.
That being said, telecom is a circulatory system of edge, right? How can decentralized connectivity solutions like dTelecom power machine-to-machine communication globally? And is that something that you guys have planned or is in store?
Can you please repeat the question, because I lost
How are you
them.
guys doing machine-to-machine telecommunication globally? Is that planned or
We have
the global expansion? How are you guys looking at it?
Well, the infrastructure itself is not that, I would say, not that difficult. Not that I'm an engineer, so maybe it is. But we just use nodes situated in different parts of the world, that's all. And then that helps us actually to decrease the price for the service itself. Then we, of course, we are still in the beginning, but yeah, we are open also for people that would like to run their own nodes and to contribute to the system. In the same time, they would be also rewarded for their efforts and for running nodes. But yeah, effectively, this system helps us to provide a more secure, simple solution and also cheaper solution for both for end clients and also for businesses. Then planning, we are both on two waves, on two paths. Let's say we have our open source, we have SDK. So if you're a builder and would like to have to implement a live streaming solution or video conferencing into your app or to your business in general, you can build it with us. On the other side, we have also B2C, and we just launched a couple of applications which are live streaming and video conferencing, and they are targeting end clients, like end users. And for them, the main reason, especially for one of them, the main reason for people to use it is because it's very Web2 friendly, and at the same time, as we are based on Solana, we can move transactions immediately, and the people are getting paid immediately. Usually, that's actually a thing that Web3 helps out. Because if you use a traditional platform, usually you need to wait, streamers need to wait 1 month or 2 months to get paid. In our case, they paid immediately. They get paid immediately, which is good for them. But plans, yes, we work in too many, I think, too many directions right now. But yeah, definitely we are planning to onboard more people who would like to run nodes on one side. On the other side, we are thinking of more solutions like small dApps that are built on our infrastructure.
Right, that's super interesting, and all the very best for the expansion. You rightly mentioned about Web 2, onboarding Web 2 users to Web 3, which is something that most entrepreneurs, I'd say if not all, talk about when they're on panels or at keynotes. But quite a few projects here are focused at simplifying DePIN for the masses. And I'll start with Hivello right here. What are your sort of key steps that you have towards mass adoption? And if you can talk about things that you've been doing to simplify DePIN for masses.
Well, we have a very active community on Discord, and these are not your typical bots, airdrop hunters, shillers. These are actual real users who are running their nodes, who have downloaded the app, and some of these are our ambassadors. So we have a very good community on Discord who's trying to promote DePIN and believes in the mission of Hivello. Second, like I said, we also run our DePIN coffee hour, which is a very candid and organic chat about DePIN and how we can scale this sector to next height. And so far we've had around 60 DePIN projects, and we have reached around 2 million people all over X and YouTube. So that's another way. And with DePIN Coffee Hour, we try to keep the conversation very organic, and like a newbie can understand what's been saying and what's DePIN is all about. So yeah, that's I think about that. And also third, the application is very, very simple to run. Even if someone who hasn't been a Web3 head or is a Web2 newbie can simply download the application from hivello.com. And yeah, it downloads it under 2 minutes. Is as simple to install as Spotify, and you can just log in with your Google account, and yeah, you are then running a Hivello node.
It really is that simple, by the way. I have the Hivello node running on my computer right now, and that is very, very, very simple. It's extremely easy to use. You literally press download, log in with Google, and that's it.
Interesting. Ease of usability is something that we've struggled with for long. So glad to hear that there are projects like Hivello who are taking the lead on that front. That being said, Daniel, I actually have a question for you. DePIN Hub, of course, connects a lot of DePIN projects. With our space, interoperability and standardization has definitely been a problem. How do you sort of bring projects together, and are you guys working towards interoperability or standardization of the sector at large? If so, how's that working out?
I mean, we do focus on trying to onboard new people into Web3 and educate them through multiple ways that we do. I speak to, personally, I speak to hundreds of projects. On DePIN Hub, we have over 200 projects listed, every project that I spoke to the founder. And what I try to do is connect projects together. For example, it wasn't my cause, but for example, WeatherXM has the Helium device where it uses the Helium IoT network. And I'm always thinking when I speak to founders is how can you leverage another DePIN project to help collaborate instead of relying on Web2 solutions. If you're going to store data, maybe you can store in Storj. If you want to do, there's a lot of composability that you can do on DePINs. I think for being an educational platform, we don't necessarily act on that directly, but we do speak to a lot of projects. I am a personal mentor to a lot of DePIN projects as well, and I always try to think how can we work together, because this way we need, each DePIN project needs consumers, right? And my friend here was saying that he's going to use a D-Charge because it's his friend's project. It's the same thing with DePIN. You might as well start using your friends' projects and try to help each other, and then we can even collaborate and co-market things together.
Absolutely. Do you guys have anything to add to the interoperability aspect of DePIN?
Yeah, I guess I could add to the fact that as a DePIN deployer, running my DePIN deployment business, we can do something called the vertical deployment. So basically, you can start with one host on one deployment and say, let's say I install an XNet or a Helium unit. Right. Let's say I install one of those inside the building. And maybe a month later, I can come back and say, hey, I think you could use a WeatherXM station on there too. And now I have multiple DePINs in one location working essentially together. And so you can get more and more people onboarded to more and more projects because they can all work synergistically. I kind of coined a term called DePInergy. So these DePIN synergies working together because you can have multiple DePINs at one location. It's quite fantastic.
Absolutely.
We've seen DeFi leading the composability, and we've seen a ton of projects that they, you can, because the asset there is money, basically, it's easier to build and recycle stuff that it is in DePIN. In DePIN, you have data, but every project has different types of data, and even though technically it is possible to move data from one place to another, to utilize the data and to combine different sources of data to produce more value is not that simple. So DePIN is a little bit behind because of that. But to build more on the examples that we heard, we're using Filecoin as a storage provider. We're using Helium as one of our communications telecom provider. Our rewards are on Arbitrum, but we do special projects on Solana. So we're trying to take advantage of everything that we have. And like I said previously, this wasn't taken for granted a few years ago. It was only made available now, and obviously it will improve over time. So we will see different projects being more composable and taking advantage of each other.
Absolutely, great work there by WeatherXM, I would love to say. And I love the idea of building a DePIN stack that has multiple projects and people can use it for multiple things. And that being said, I think we're almost at the end of our time, so we'll wrap it up with expectations, roadmap. What are you guys planning from your company's end, as well as what's in building, basically? So we'll start with WeatherXM. What are you guys planning? How is the last quarter looking?
We're working on the final part of the puzzle, I would say, for WeatherXM, which is parametric weather insurance and weather derivatives. Again, in terms of composability, there's another partner of ours there called Ensuro, who have they reinsure. They are a reinsurer on chain, so they have stablecoin pools for collateral in insurance contracts. So we have set up a few projects that are going to be announced in the next few months that are essentially parametric weather insurance for retail, for tourism. So there will be a website where of existing company that has thousands of consumers on a daily basis that they buy tourist packets like traveling and hotels, and there will be a small tick box that when they click, they get weather insurance for their travels. And because of all the weather insights that we have for those particular regions, those countries, we can take the risk to provide this insurance with a very low fee, a very small premium, and at the same time, if we fail, we are reinsured with Ensuro on chain, with transparency, with collateral, real collateral, not imaginary money that banks use. So yeah, I'm looking forward to announcing more on this.
So we have pretty big news. We'll be doing our TG mid-November, so that would be a very big milestone for us. And the other one, we're delving more and more into Web 2 use cases. There's actually quite a bit of demand there, especially for decentralized confidential compute. One of those will be announced soonish. It will be within the cybersecurity space. I cannot speak about it too much, but it will be very interesting. But other than that, we also want to build up our supply side of smartphones. To provide some context, we were at 20,000 phones at the start of the year. Now we're at 130,000. But the demand over the last 2 months has grown exponentially, almost matching the supply side. So it will be good for everyone to onboard their phone, as our motto is for a democratized AI, every phone counts.
Yeah.
Well, we just launched a new application, new DApp on our infrastructure. And short term, in the next couple of months, we'll see how we can actually monetize out of it. We decided to make it as simple as possible. It's a live streaming app for end clients. So we really put a lot of effort to make it absolutely seamless and absolutely very, very Web 2 friendly, let's say. And we also decided that we would like to promote it more on the Web 2 scene, not that much on the Web 3 one, or people that are half-half, let's say. And we would like to see how much we can monetize out of it and to see, like, to run it as an actual business. That's just a small part of what we actually do, but that's something like a really good, would be a very good check how the Web 3, I mean Web 2 scene will react on this type of service.
Yeah, so besides personally pushing out more deployments, spreading my deployment business over in the States, with the DePIN Digest, we plan on pushing out more content, more newsletter stuff, more stories there, get more projects on there. Just trying to aggregate all the news we can so that everyone here can get all of their DePIN information in one spot. That's something we're going to continue to focus on. But on the personal front, I plan on pushing out more educational content. I actually spoke about this a little earlier, I think on yesterday or so, but I'm going to start making a DePIN deployment kind of educational series. So kind of go through talking to hosts, how to approach hosts, how to sell the idea of DePIN to someone, as well as the actual physical deployments, like give tips and tricks on like, hey, maybe, go this route on installing on a roof, or, this is how you should install over here, watch out for this kind of thing. So that's pretty much what we have planned over at the DePIN Digest.
Yeah, at DePIN Hub, we want to continue onboarding new projects, doing due diligence on them, and understanding that, like, what if this project is actually trying to build a real valuable project for the community and for everyone involved, and not just for the founders or for the investors. So I think that's one thing that we try to focus on, onboarding real projects, trying to help the community to not get rugged, and really trying to maybe explore a little bit more on the frontier of DePIN and AI as well. I think there's a lot of cool things happening there, and there's a lot of scams as well. So that's something that we can try to focus on. Some questions as well.
Well, that's a very cool thing you said in the end, that AI and DePIN is a very interesting intersection, and we are going to have an episode on DePIN Coffee Hour coming Tuesday on 7th October, and the topic is, does DePIN need AI? But coming to the question, our main focus for Q4 is going to be strengthening the MARPU, that is the monthly average revenue per user, because we are very simple to download and install, and who doesn't love free money? Yeah. And you just have to, you just have to run the application in the background of your PC and let Hivello do the rest. So that's our main focus for coming months, to strengthen our users' average revenue per month. Also, we did our season 2 airdrop on September, which was designed for real users, people we were distributing our tokens to people who were having uptime points, people who connected Discord to our app, and people who were generally more active and helpful in the community. So that's what we are going to continue with and improve in the season 3 airdrop, which is planned for late January, early February. So that these are our two main pillars. And also we have currently 11 DePINs integrated. We plan to add a couple more before the end of the year. So we are in touch with few DePINs to add to our application. So yeah, you will hear more about that soon.
I want to add something really fast too. I have a new goal, and that is to do a collaboration with the coffee hour. I need the happy hour and the coffee hour to do something together here. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Irish coffee?
Yes, Irish coffee. There we go. That's perfect.
Coffee rave. That's a little too intense. Well, I'd request everyone to stick around for a bit because we'll open the stage for questions. And before that, I'll take closing statements from all the guests right here. And one closing statement that I personally love to make whenever I'm on panels is, do your own research. I know it's a term that has now been forgotten, but we still stick by it as an industry. Do your own research, be knee-deep into education, and of course, follow all of these amazing guys for the right kind of education and not getting rugged. Do you have any final words, Krishna?
Yeah, join us on our Discord. It's a very cool community. We host weekend games, challenges, DePIN, DCH, so that is DePIN Coffee Hour challenges. We have ambassador programs. So it's a very cool place to be. Also, if any one of you is representing a DePIN project, we would love to have you on our podcast, hear what you're building. And yeah, just follow our socials. It's x.com/Hivello official. And you can download the application from Hivello.com. It's been a wonderful chat with all of you. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, for the plug then. Yeah, check dpinhub.io. We have around 200 projects. See from those projects those that you have either resource at home, so you can actually start making some passive income as well. And yeah, see the projects that you really like. Talk to 3, 4, 5 people about them, and this way we can spread for the people who don't know about them yet, right?
I guess I'll do the shameless shill too. Definitely subscribe to our newsletter if you want to be up to date on all your weekly DePIN news updates. It's DePIN_digest on Twitter. You'll see our subscription link to the newsletter on there.
Check dTelecom org. And in general, be open to new solutions coming in, like not only from us, but from the whole space. And thank you very much for having me here, guys.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me, and make sure to join the Acurast network. It's as easy as installing the app, or if you want to be committed to the network, we have the core version, which I would suggest you install on your secondary phone. And as the saying goes, for democratized AI, every smartphone counts.
I'll go against the stream, make a small forecast. I think the word DePIN is going to disappear in a few years. Because I think DePIN will become bigger than DeFi, and we'll stop calling it DePIN. It will just be technology. Life. Yeah. And to paraphrase A16Z, I think DePIN is eating the world.
Wow, that sure is a bold claim, and we're all for the optimistic future that we envision for the DePIN sector. And that being said, I'm also going to be a shameless shill, but I'd like to mention that news is still relevant and news still makes narratives, and we as a Web3 news media organization love to collaborate with projects DePIN, RWA, crypto Web3, of course not as many meme projects because, well, we all know why. But that being said, I also host a podcast. It's called Money and Me. So anyone who is interested in talking about DeFi, DePIN, about RWA, about Web3 at large, feel free to hit me up. I'm Varuni Trivedi, and with this we come to an end of this amazing panel. Thank you so much, Merlin, for organizing this. And now we're open for questions. Anyone who is interested, please feel free. You can step forward and...
So I'm a high school student. I'm just curious about like how DePIN works. So like Uber and Airbnb like started as like sharing economy platforms, but then they became like giant corporations. So what stops like DePIN from following the same path of like starting as decentralized but ending up as centralized?
Governance. There's decentralized governance on DePIN projects. So usually one of the utility of the token is for the token holders to be able to participate in the voting process. And today, a lot of the DePIN projects are still centralized, and in many ways, WeatherXM is like that. But they have designed their future, their evolution in such a way that at the end, the token holders control the project. And that was, you could say that this is similar with shares and IPOs, but the difference is that tokens can move easier than shares, and people can participate in projects easier than joining stock exchanges. So I think that's the difference. I think this is a second wave of transparency and decentralization in relationship to the corporations of the past, who were more decentralized if you compare them to the governments of the past. So yeah, that's the big difference.
Oh no, I will do a shameless self-insert at this point. Shameless self-insert, because I like that question very much. It is very important when young people ask this. There are different examples. I think WeatherXM was too humble there, saying they are in a way decentralized, because the reality is they are one of the first projects which built their weather sensors in a really nice network approach in terms of cost for the individual user setting something like this up. It was a pretty sophisticated system. You have the unit that runs on battery, while at the same time you have something inside which has a rather long connectivity range. And as a user, in a way, on one side, you're part of the governance as you're influencing the community, and in part you are involved in decisions, but more so, it goes a little back to the concept of Bitcoin mining, where like the users are the device owners. If the project does something wrong, they switch the devices off. So the project will always give the power to their community, because their community is essentially their whole business model. For Acurast, this is even a little bit crazier if you think about, they are not selling any hardware. They are working with something on phones, and this goes as so fast that they made a use case for phones which are already out of business use. Because like, if your phone is 3 years old, you might probably not use it anymore. When the panel or when the screen is split, like sometimes you're not willing to pay the repair for it. I myself have 300 phones running Acurast because I buy cheap iPhone 6s whenever I find them, for under $10. They are very interesting concepts, but essentially in all of DePIN it is like that. It is more, the decentralization is more than just a word. The users and the community and the device owners or participants in the app, they have a real influence.
Yeah, I just want to briefly add to that and kind of give a visual kind of idea to provide to you. But I definitely need to get Acurast on like my old Nokia phone, like the brick phone. Is that possible or no?
It's not, you will be too far behind me.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. There you go, Daniel. But to answer your question, you mentioned Uber and Airbnb. And in both of those cases, a majority of the benefits they stream upward, right? They stream upward through the company into the main executives there. Whereas in a DePIN project, the main benefits as the network grows stream outward. They go outward. They flow outward towards the rest of the network as opposed to going up through the business, into the hands of a few shareholders.
Do we have any other questions from the audience?
The common consensus is boycott memes. If I make a meme coin with the ticker boycott meme, will you invest in?
It's gonna start a black hole.
A multi-chain meme coin.
Send me the contract address before and we'll talk.
There's a big stigma with specifically for DePIN with meme coins, because you have to think like some things that happened recently. I don't want to point fingers, but some things that happened recently, it's really much they pulled so much liquidity out of the market through abuse via meme coins that you will find many people in our sphere that really don't like meme coins, because it holds everyone back from progress. It's like we want to make a train that rides into the future, and someone is at the back, pulling up the gasoline from it, and
It perpetuates the bad PR I talked about earlier.
Yeah,
too. It
that
just keeps
also.
that cycle going and living.
Yeah, I think the only meme coin that I really enjoy is a project called Entropy. I don't know if you guys heard about that, which is a DePIN meme coin because you need a hardware to mine nothing.
So I think we're all done with questions here. Merlin, would you like to?
Yeah, I will do the last question and then it's over. Like from everyone here, in one word, how would you describe your experience in 1 or 2 words or 3 words? What do you think about Token 24/9 Singapore?
Evolving.
Decentralized.
Getting more corporate.
Exhausting. Insightful, I would say.
Building future.
Good for founders.
It's fun.
Thank you very much, and please give a nice clap.